Yes, good evening. Welcome. It's Friday. It's episode 18. And that was the Dragon Ritual Drummers with Utu Witch Doctor. Wonderful. Thank you, Utu. We always thank you for your music. I appreciate your music. So does Jean Jerome. And, you know, if I were feeling up to it, I'd be dancing to it right now. So, that's that, right? So tonight is going to be kind of a special night in the sense that it's just Jean Jerome and I. We are doing a recap for episode 18. And I just wanted to say welcome to my co-host, Jean Jerome. Hi, Jean Jerome.
Hello, Teresa. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. As Teresa was saying, we decided to make episode 18 a bit of a recap. It's amazing, but we've actually been running now for well over 4 months, and we've done 17 episodes with some fantastic guests covering a wide variety of spiritual belief systems and from around the world. So we wanted to sort of look back on our previous guest shows, discuss some projects and research initiatives we have ongoing, and also, later on introduce some of our future guests that will be coming on in the coming weeks, as well as talk about the event, the Conjuration Camp, which is going to be camp number 8, the eighth iteration of it, with Utu, and hopefully we may have Utu join us a little bit later in the transmission to chat a little bit about the Conjuration Camp, where Teresa and I are the special guests, and we'll be talking about the Ifa spiritual belief system, as well as talking a little bit about our show and other belief systems through the Ancestral Eyes brand. So that's the show for tonight. That's what we're going to be talking about, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. And I'm also going to be showing on the ticker if anybody has any show ideas or guest recommendations or suggestions for the coming months, maybe spiritual belief system areas that people would like us to look into or investigate or bring guests.
Good idea.
Please send your suggestions along. I'll be later on in the show. I'll be putting the email address you can email the suggestions to, and we'd be happy to look into them and bring them on.
No, for sure. So welcome everybody, and so we are here just going to sit here and talk about some of our past shows that we've done. I want to say thank you to all our guests who had tuned in, and thank you to all the guests who had come on board to our shows. They were our private, they're friends of me and Jean Jerome, okay?
That's right.
And we got a chance to get to know them a little bit better. You know how you kind of have Facebook friends, you got like 300 to 500 or whatever. And you kind of know them because, for me, I met them through other groups that I've been a part of, to personal friends and friends of friends and friends from the past because of the different types of spiritual paths that I have walked. And excuse me, I've always got a cat somewhere or dog. And no. And anyway, but this show really gave me a chance to get to know my friends a little bit better, get to know some of the people I know, their spiritual paths, which I've always been interested in. In the past, I've read a lot of books about certain spiritual belief systems, certain faiths, etc. And like I said, being a part of some Facebook groups, I met wonderful people. So I said to Jean Jerome, I think, we should use our friends, right? Because how did the show start? Wasn't it, I had a dream? Yes, I had a dream. But Jean Jerome kind of like sparked the whole the whole show together, didn't you? I want you to tell us a little bit about that, John Jerome. I'm
Well,
going to put you on the hot spot there.
yeah, no problem. No, we've been talking about for some time, really,
Mhm.
because of the friends and the networks we have,
Yeah.
and with the Consejo Cultural Yoruba Canada, and the Slavic Witch page,
Hmm.
and our conjoint and also independent sort of research and investigation. Myself on the Fa Orisa Vodun side, and Teresa on the Slavic traditions and witchcraft and shamanic traditions and so forth. That it would be nice, especially with especially during the pandemic. People were looking
Yes.
at a situation where they're looking at other ways of looking at the world, a fresh outlook,
Hmm.
new information, rediscovering their connection with nature, rediscovering their
Hmm.
connection with their
Hmm.
ancestors, trying to make sense of it all. And we
Right.
decided, and we got a little push from the Into the Abyss show with at the time Sean Gilmore and Zarina Crow, that were kind enough
Yes.
to invite you to on their show to basically on using the same engine that we're using, StreamYard, to talk about your experiences in the paranormal investigation and the as a
Right.
psychic medium. And we took the that experience was such a heartwarming experience that we decided it would be good to have a show, but focusing on an area which we thought was being underreported, that was being ignored, but is a critical part in terms of any shamanic or any indigenous belief system or spiritual practice, which is understanding the ancestral component. And we've had the
Hmm.
privilege of having wide variety of guests. Larissa, our Tuvan shaman, um, Rebecca Rogerson, our Sangoma,
Yeah.
Dr. Salvato in terms of Segoeria,
Hmm.
Jenny Uzo, Druid, and
Yep.
just to name a few. Of our
Hmm.
Utu witch doctor,
Yeah.
John Corvus, John Husilak, uh,
Yep.
you know, wonderful guest Danielle, Bokono Danielle, Bokono Dafoji, which is spent
Hmm.
pretty much the last 7 years, 8 years in terms of doing research
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
the area of Vodun Fa, but also specifically in the cult of the ancestral
Hmm.
spiritual guide,
Hmm.
or tutelar spirit guide. And it is an area which is quite often we found is underreported, but yet it is present in almost every every spiritual shamanic tradition. It's a key component, and I was
Absolutely.
especially drawn. I believe it was Jenny Uzo, our friend, the Druid
Hmm.
in England, that and from Darlington, England, that basically emphasized as well that one of the things she found that was very common now in Druidic practice, especially the religious Druidic practice, she outlined
Hmm.
various forms of Druidism, um, was that focus on ancestral veneration, and
Yes.
even she mentioned one particular Druid, Grey Wolf, I believe his name is
Yes.
his
Yes.
totem name,
That was his.
and
That was the gentleman's name.
and basically where that person has many of his lectures, many of his teachings has harped on that. And Danielle, which for
Hmm.
those that know Danielle about Bokono Dafoji, he's been working with his ancestral spiritual guide for 40 years or plus now,
I
and
know.
and and
And
going into possession and doing ceremonies with that ancestral spiritual guide. So definitely it's an area which we wanted to explore more, and hence our lemma,
mhm.
our slogan for the show, which is "Life is a journey our ancestors began." Right?
Yep, absolutely. I wanted to mention also some of our other guests with regards to Owen Craig Ballard, Sue
Yes,
Arisimbia, Ken
exactly.
Allen, even our co-host. We should have her on the show. Hey, where is she? Beth. Beth, are you tuning in? we definitely need to do Beth as well. We need to do an interview
Yeah.
with Beth. Is she coming in, or where is she?
Th-
Oh, yes.
Those are
Okay,
all the
well,
shows we've done.
that's right. She was on a show when we had Baba Ted and
Mhm.
his wife Kate.
That's right.
So yes, we had some very interesting guests, I have to say.
Yeah.
And everybody who's tuned in too, I really appreciate it. And we've got a following now, and I look forward to all our guests who come on our show and say hello. And that's half the fun, right? Is
That's
just
right.
something to do. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here eating pizza by myself on a Friday night, watching not Netflix. I watch Tubby TV or Tubi TV or whatever, right? Or doing something very constructive, right? No, but I'm really glad that we were able to put this together, and a lot of that is because of you, Jean Jerome. I tip my hat off to you. Love you, my dear. You're such a good man. You really are, and you're
Thank you very
extremely
much.
helpful. And I appreciate everything that you do, and especially for this show and helping me. In regards to the Slavic witch, I had previously been known as the Crone, the
Yes.
Crone's Corner, and I decided I was going to just own the name the Slavic witch. For one thing, I'm a witch,
Mhm.
initiated. And the other thing was, when I look back at my own path and how I started on my own spiritual path, um, there was something that was always missing, because I knew I had spirits around me that were a part of me. I just figured everybody had them, and I called them my guardian angels. I knew I had more than one. But the interesting thing was that when I felt my guardian angel didn't always have wings. So I thought, okay, well, that's all right. In some way, I kind of just knew, they had to be with me. I also thought, this is my mother. Okay. My mother had two children that had passed away. So I thought, in one sense, could have been, you know, a sibling that had passed away. So, and as it turned out, luckily I had that reading with Danielle, and Danielle, oh my God, Danielle is amazing in what he can do as far as letting you know what spirits are around you. Okay. I know Owen does the same thing, Owen Craig Ballard, in regards to knowing what your spiritual, I like to call them my spiritual army or my spiritual entourage.
Mhm.
And these are the spirits that have chosen to walk with you. Okay. These are also, I also believe in one, ow, geez, I just got bit by a cat on my foot. I believe, sorry. I'm sorry. Keisha, stop it. Jesus, anyway, yes, I do believe in God. And I believe in the manifestation in avatars and angels and guides, and the gods and goddesses are all part of that. And this took me a few years to get here to where I am now. And I think what I decided to own the name the Slavic witch, it was also to pay homage to my own heritage, my own Slavic heritage. And the nice thing is, okay, that I have now been asked by another fellow Catholic conjure Polish witch, Hava
Oh, great.
Olead, to be an
Very nice.
admin on his group. So if anyone's tuning in from that group, hi everybody. And I'm
Hello.
also a part of another group, of which you are too, Jean Jerome, in Slavic paganism.
Mhm.
So this is something that's new to us, new to me as well. So I really, yeah. So when I decided to name myself the Slavic witch, I was honoring that part of me and my heritage, and to also my ancestral guide, who happens to be of Slavic background. So moving forward, this is something that I'm embracing. I'm grateful for everything that my British traditional lineage had taught me as far as the framework was concerned, and the discipline, okay, and being introduced to the different spirits, okay, it meant a lot. It really did, you know, and I moved forward from there. And everything that I did up until now, I now reflect back and go, ah, that's why I went there, or that's why I took that. Besides it being just an interest, right? But I always believe that I think all of your interests, no matter what they are, they're being guided by your ancestors. I really do believe that, you know, and it's part of that guidance that helps you fulfill your destiny. And that's what a large part of what Ifa did for me too, you know, was to acknowledge that. Besides all the spirits that were bothering me and I needed help. Thank you, Jean Jerome.
No problem.
Because I, you know, they kind of dragged me forward, you know, into this. So, you know, that's kind of like where I was at and where I am now. And there's some great things coming up too, because I'm also not giving up being a paranormal investigator. Okay. There's, you know, unfortunately COVID happened, but I had some great plans. I met someone who was, into filming me. Unfortunately, I did an investigation at his house, Uncle Ricky. I call him Uncle Ricky. He's a school bus buddy of mine. And his place is haunted. And I went there and I did an actual investigation. The unfortunate thing is that I can't download it. He put it on a CD for me, but I might get you to look at that, Jean Jerome, and see if I can, you know, try to download it. Because I also created another page called the Mediums of the Paranormal. That's another one of my Facebook pages. The Slavic Witch, Baba Yaga's Herbalism. Those are all my Facebook pages, and they're separated because I'm going to start to, you know, rather than just send out memes and, you know, wise words of the crone type of thing, I really want to start looking more into my Slavic roots. And I'm going to take it from the point of view of things that I remember as a child growing up. As I said, coming of Polish background, being raised Catholic, I always thought that, you know, all Catholics did what we did, you know, but no, it's different. It's a little bit different. There's a little more of the pagan roots showing, and it reminds me of like when we had Gian Michael Salvatore. Salvato. I don't know why I want to keep saying Salvatore. It sounds more romantic. Anyway, it reminded me when he was talking about it, I really could understand what he was saying, because it is a very different form of Catholic practice. And I, you know, for me, I think it's wonderful. I really do. So this is something that I want to talk about more in that sense, talk about my roots, look at it from, and I met, an upcoming guest that's going to be coming. I won't say her name right now, but okay, I'll say her name. It's Patricia Robin Woodruff. She is a academic scholar in Slavic paganism, okay, and she has written some books. I recently got one of her books, the Slavic Moon Meditations. She's written a couple of others, and she's a wealth of knowledge. She really is. So with her help, I'm going to be looking at how I remember celebrating different times of the years, different celebrations, you know, life events that were marked, that were different, things like that, and really kind of look more into my Slavic background. So I'm going to be posting that on the Slavic Witch, as well as some herbal things on Baba Yaga's herbalism, okay? And, you know, vice versa. So I'm going to take it from there and kind of expand on that. And again, also, I want to do my paranormal investigations. And who knows, Jean Jerome, I think you and I should do a trip down to the States at some point in time when things get better between our two countries, America and
Right.
Canada, where we can visit, because I would love to do an investigation with Sean Gilmore, where he's from, because there's that haunted house that is open. You know what I noticed? America has a lot more haunted houses that open up for paranormal investigators. We don't really have that here in Canada, you know? I think they should start doing that. There's a few places. Well, there was Milton Heritage Park that I did. They welcome investigators, paranormal investigators, but I think there should be more of them. But anyway, I think we should go. We should do an investigation. I think one day I'm going to make you a paranormal investigator, Jean Jerome, whether you like it or not. You came on that one time when we were at, I think it was at the Heritage Center, right? You did show up.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I was invited, and
yeah,
I took a look
yeah.
around.
You did.
That was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, so I do want to do that, and a couple of other things, you know, and I want to get those paranormal, whatchamacallit, videos put on my page. See if I can try to do something about that. But anyway, Jean Jerome, what else do you have to say?
No, I think in terms of when you talk about the paranormal investigation, for me, the whole paranormal investigation
Mm-hmm.
phenomena or industry, for me, the real value for me in that particular approach is to raise awareness in terms of the fact that people are not alone. That this world and the other world are very
Mm-hmm.
much linked. And I think
Absolutely.
from that standpoint, it's more for a lot of people that sometimes suffer silently because they have a
Mm-hmm.
gift, and
Yes.
or they have a situation in a particular place.
Mm-hmm.
To have that validation or to be told you're okay. It's not
Yeah.
just in your mind, and to be able to provide some objective empirical evidence of some
Absolutely.
form, whether it be through investigation, whether it be through divination, through one of the spiritual belief systems. But at the end of the day, part of the reason why we did the show as well was to let
Mm-hmm.
people know that they're not alone, and that it's okay
Yes.
to and as part of your and many people's path is to reconnect with the spiritual mission and their spiritual
Mm-hmm.
belief system, because otherwise they walk through life almost without a direction and
Yeah.
without that
Yeah.
enthusiasm and that passion which comes when you
Mm-hmm.
know why you're doing something and where you're going with it, right?
No, for sure. I see the at the bottom you're just posting our future
Yeah,
guests on the Tiki
yeah,
system
and the tiki
there. So
system,
do you
that's right.
on the Tiki system, did you want to announce our future guests?
Yeah, so you mentioned one of them. That's why I started scrolling it. So again, Patricia
Yes.
Robin Woodruff is you. I described her as a Slavic shamaness and writer,
Yes.
but you gave a much more thorough description of
Mm-hmm.
her qualification and her area of focus. We have
Mm-hmm.
also Dava Laminmäki, who's a Sami
Mm-hmm.
shamaness from Finland. She'll be connecting in from
Yes.
Finland on the show date on September 4th, which is also my dad's birthday. So that's going to be a
Oh,
special
nice.
birthday edition,
Nice.
ancestral birthday edition. And then we have Angela Puka, which is from Angela's Symposium, which today just wrote
Yes.
back to me saying that she's game for coming on the show and looking forward to it. And she's a PhD candidate. And one of the things which I've been following
Mm-hmm.
her on YouTube because she's a YouTuber
Mm-hmm.
in terms of her Angela Symposium, and she basically, in some similar fashion to what we do, she both
Mm-hmm.
talks
Yes.
about certain areas of spiritual belief systems or
Mm-hmm.
magic or the occult and so forth. But not only that, she also interviews other experts or academics or even practitioners, but as
Yes.
well as she is pursuing or has been pursuing her PhD in the
Yeah,
study of
that's right.
religious studies and the study of magic, paganism, and esotericism, um, and the whole idea of magic and so forth. So um,
Mm-hmm.
it's it's refreshing. Also, like our former guest, um, Jenny Uzel,
Mm-hmm.
who's a
Mm-hmm.
Druid but also an academic, and is very
Yes.
much involved in the pagan community in all of England and trying to normalize the teaching or raising the awareness on pagan
Mm-hmm.
belief systems and indigenous or shamanic belief systems like Druidism
Mm-hmm.
in the mainstream of the education system in England. I think it's
Yes.
interesting. I think Angela is pursuing her
Mm-hmm.
degree in England as well, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's nice to see that England has really, it would seem
They're
at
very
least,
progressive.
progressive and tried to give really a chance for that separation of state and religion, allowing
Mm-hmm.
all religions to have a voice
Say
and to be
exactly.
raise awareness and for people to not feel alienated or in their own
Mm-hmm.
country
Mm-hmm.
because of the belief they choose to follow, right? Because of either
Right.
ancestral bloodlines or because of their ancestral spiritual guides and the missions they
Mm-hmm.
individually have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's interesting. Do we have anything like that in Canada? We're kind of neutral in the sense that we don't really, I don't know, do we really identify as a Christian nation in that sense? We're very separate, church and state as well. But we don't have the promotion of other religions or anything. It's more of an acceptance, I think.
well, I think a lot of it is, in Canada, we are a country of immigrants, and we have,
Hmm.
we have open our doors to people from all over the world. I mean, I came from France
Hmm.
when I was 5 years old. My mom and dad came from France, uh,
Right.
and this country has always been very welcoming and very respectful of tradition. But like at everything else, the general mind share in society, in Canadian society,
Hmm.
a lot of the bandwidth, if you will, is consumed by Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Hinduism,
Hmm.
Judaism, the religions,
The
monotheistic
predominant
religion,
cultures,
predominant
the
religions and
larger
cultures. Exactly,
cultures in Canada, right?
exactly.
No, no,
And
definitely.
and part of this show was to let Canadians know that there is not just um, uh, that
The
not just
traditional
those traditional
Abrahamic,
religions, Abrahamic or
religion.
monotheistic religions,
Yeah.
like Buddhism, Hinduism, Sikhism, Christianity again, Islam, and Judaism, but that there are other ancient religions, ancient belief
Yes.
systems that are
Yes.
very much alive, like Ifa Orisa, Esinibile
Yes.
Orisha, like other variants of that in the
Hmm.
diaspora, like Candomblé, uh,
Hmm.
Afro-Cuban
Hmm.
Ifa, Orisa, Lukumi,
Hmm.
Vodou Fa, Haitian Vodou, Nkisi in terms of
Hmm.
Palo. So it's very important,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it's still today, even after with the Consejo, we've been at this mission now for 6, 7 years, where we wanted the Ifa Orisa system and other indigenous
Yeah.
belief systems, even
Yeah.
when we were
Yeah.
doing a 2 year long lecture series at York University, showcasing
Yes, that's
again
right.
that actually was the precursor for this show, because during
That's
that,
right. That's
that
right.
York University at the Harriet Tubman Institute, which is interesting.
Yes.
It's interesting how things come full circle. I would
Yes.
say that I would pay special credit. It's funny. I would pay special credit to the spirit of the ancestor Harriet Tubman, because it was
Absolutely.
Harriet Tubman
Hmm.
Institute at York University, which at that time
Hmm.
opened their arms and basically collaborated with the Consejo Cultural Yoruba
Hmm.
de Canada to have a lecture series on various belief systems. We spoke on Yoruba Ifa
Hmm.
Orisa, Afro-Cuban
Hmm.
Ifa, Orisa and Orisha and Lukumi. We talked about other belief systems. We talked about Palo. We talked about Sangoma.
Hmm.
We talked
Hmm.
about Obia,
Yeah.
as it's described. We went through many, even indigenous First Nations belief systems.
Hmm.
We covered a number of topics and spiritual belief systems, and that was, it's nice actually to now, at the time when we did it at York University, we did not have the capability to do these type of lives and have a broader audience. But we did
Mhm,
have
mhm,
a local community following that would come to the Harriet Tubman
mhm,
Institute.
mhm,
And again,
mhm.
my respect and tribute to Harriet Tubman, because it's interesting how, it comes full
Things
circle
come
that
full circle.
U-
Absolutely.
Utu, witch doctor, who is essentially the
Uh-huh.
custodian of the Niagara Voodoo Shrine, and basically a shrine dedicated to the Underground Railroad and to Harriet Tubman. Once again, that
Yes.
spirit extends its
Yes.
hands in friendship and in support.
Absolutely.
And now Utu Witch Doctor was gracious enough to invite us both to be their special guests, I guess, of honor at the eighth
On
eighth annual conjuration camp, which I'm just scrolling, which is
yeah.
next Saturday, August 29th, and
Yes.
Sunday,
Yeah.
August 30th is camp out.
Right. Right.
And this year it's going to be at the in Pelham Township, right in the heart of Niagara Peninsula.
Hmm.
So I don't think that's arbitrary, and I
No.
find that spirit. And again, in terms of spirit, I give my homage, I pay my respect to that spirit,
Absolutely.
because for that I've seen that spirit sort of weaving a fabric or a tapestry,
Hmm. Hmm.
for the last now 5 years, right? It was
Hmm.
5 years ago, five
Hmm.
years we
Hmm.
did started the seminar series at York University for 2 years,
Right.
uh,
Right.
and it's very interesting that now here we are, literally 5 years later,
Uh-huh. And here we are doing
and
this
we are.
show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
No.
it's interesting. Sometimes this one thing I would say: the spirit world has never ever ceased to amaze me. Now this
No.
year, no, on November 2nd,
It's
it will
true.
be my 10th anniversary of Itefa, as a babalao.
Oh.
And I must say that journey, and being a priest of Ifa, babalao, and that journey with my mom in terms of when all her investigations in Cuba on the Afro descendant belief systems, and
Yes.
having
Yes.
grown up in this culture, that what
Yes.
I've seen in my now 48 years of life or trajectory on
Hmm.
this planet, as I walk the
Hmm.
earth now for 48 years, it is never the spirit world has never ceased to amaze me and humble me in terms
Hmm.
of the
Hmm.
magic and the
Hmm.
and the surprises and its grace. For all the challenges and
Absolutely.
sometimes difficult times that we face, sometimes we bring it many times on ourselves. But
Of
for
course
those
we do.
times, you often see divine mission and purpose and destiny at play, and their spiritual
Totally.
allies at play, that help us to see how the things
Hmm.
fit together. Hence, why in your dream you had the dream of our show should have the Black Widow spider and the mother
Hmm.
spider, and the idea of that tapestry of that web, right? And how
Absolutely. That
connect
communication, that
exactly.
web that binds all of us together, and of course, because I many years ago was bit by a black widow spider, had a near death experience because of it, really kind of catapulted me into my spiritual path even more so, and really brought my ancestral guides along, okay, to the point where they dragged me. They pretty well did. They made life a little bit difficult because I tend to be a little bit stubborn, shall we say. But also, I think it's important that we listen to that aspect, listen to ourselves, listen to our intuitive gifts. Our guides, our ancestral guides are there. They're part of us, I don't care what anyone says. You may not want to believe in them,
Mhm.
or you don't want to believe that there are angels or whatever it is. They're there. They will make themselves known, and they're part of you. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that part of ourselves. We're not just human beings, born on this earth to procreate, work, and get a job, get things, and that's it. we are spiritual beings, and that's something that we often forget. We kind of sort of wrap up our spirituality to you know, conveniently go to church, you know, or go to temple or something like that, and that one day a week that we give homage, instead of acknowledging that we are constantly at play with spirits, okay, with our ancestors, the ones who have passed on. They haven't gone anywhere, really. I mean, they have and they haven't. They're just in different realms, and we have to acknowledge that we are part of that world as well. I think it's important, you know.
Well,
um
no, and I think it's important that for people to know, and one of the reasons we did this show is that to let people know that there are very respected, age-old
mhm,
family, traditions, cultural
mhm,
family traditions that respect and have
absolutely.
that communication with spirit, and that if you find that you do not find your place within any of the monotheistic or the major world religions like
Mhm.
Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and so forth, that it could be that your place, your ancestral spiritual guide, has a different mission, a different plan for you, and it's much
Yes,
better to be able to channel that
yes.
and be able to use that in a constructive, healthy, balanced way
Mhm,
than to
mhm,
give in to the sometimes that emptiness or void that people feel
mhm,
that leads them
mhm,
to
mhm.
violence, to suicide, to violence against
Yes,
others, to
yes,
drugs, to
yes,
alcohol abuse, to abuse of
yes,
families,
yes,
women, racism,
absolutely,
all these things. Many of these things are a product of a deep spiritual void, an
absolutely.
emptiness, and
An
a sadness
emptiness.
inside that is the person doesn't find a constructive outlet,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
is feels lost, right? And unfortunately, in the last few months, I've had many news of young people, sometimes
I
very young
know,
people, taking their lives, or injuring themselves or injuring others because
mhm,
they feel that emptiness, and
I
they
know,
try to
and
fill
it's
it
so
with
sad.
drugs, they try to fill it with
Yeah,
other activities, which and violence and everything else, which doesn't, it's not a
it
solution. It leads
no,
into a very dark road.
no. And it's anti-life. It really is.
Exactly.
It's not fulfilling. We need to find ourselves. We need that balance. Besides, you know, being physical beings, we are spiritual beings, as I've said. And I think we need to find that balance. You know, we all have to work. Yes. Yes, we all have a faith of some sort or spiritual beliefs. We need to embrace that as part of ourselves and our families and our friends as well. So we need that. We need to be physical as well. We need to understand that we have a physical body. We have to acknowledge that it needs, besides sustenance and food, which I happen to love a lot of, but we need to exercise, you know, we, whether we just walk or something like that. And part of that walking can be meditative. There's all these little things that we can do to get in touch with our spiritual selves, to form a meditation of practice, whether that meditation of practice is as simple as a walk along the beach, a walk
Shane.
through a forest, walk through a park, wherever it is. Once you get outside of yourself, outside of your house, outside of you and your everyday that you surround yourself, it gives you a chance to tune into another world. There's a whole world out there. There's nature out there, you know? This is something, again, that so many times within our own spiritual belief systems, we don't take part of that or appreciate it, or we're scared of. You know, I mean, I used to be scared of spiders. Now, no. Believe it or not, I'm not, you know. There's all sorts of creatures out there. Yes, it's a little bit dangerous,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I think we should be aware of our entire environment. Okay, nature is beautiful. It truly is. Like for me, I love walking along the beach whether it's in the mornings or in the evenings, and I love taking pictures.
Hmm.
Pictures of the sunset, pictures of the sunrise sometimes. And it's just those simple, simple things. And if you quiet your mind, this is when you're able to get in tune with yourself. And when you listen to yourself, allow for your mind to travel, so to speak. And when you travel, understand that that travel is something where your spirit guides are able to communicate to you. They do it through dreams. Well, you can do it while walking as a meditative walk.
That's right.
This is another way of getting in tune with your spirits. It's simple things. People often think that, meditation means going into a room, which I do too, right? And sitting in a lotus position with your hands in a certain way and no, it can be simple things as a walk, even just getting out there, breathing that air, exercising that physical body. It really is a balance between mind, body, and soul. And your soul is where your spirit lives. It really, truly does. And I think these things are important to us. And I think the older I get, this is when I become more aware of that. And I appreciate all those things, because if they weren't there, what do we have really? And it's like what you said, John Jerome. This is when you find, it's sad when you find people taking their lives, turning to drugs, to drinking, all to bury something that is missing inside of themselves. And instead, opening up, asking for help. There are people out there that will help you. Go to whatever person or belief system. There are so many centers out there, in all religious faiths that can actually help people who are actually struggling with a drug problem, thoughts of suicide. It's really important, I
No,
think,
and a
to
shout
be
out
able
as
to get
well,
that help.
and a shout out as well to people in the professional, psychiatric,
Yes.
psychological, psychotherapists, because one thing about for instance, in IFA, we basically understand the balance of body, mind, and spirit. And there are some things that even if we do the if I will say this person needs medical assistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's been a lot of work done in Canada on mental health, trying to
Yes.
raise the awareness and remove the stigma of mental
Mm-hmm.
health. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's just if people are tuning in, that people understand that there are many avenues. You're not alone. It's not a dead end. You're not
No.
if you don't find the help you need or you're yearning for in one
Mm-hmm.
way or one path, there are other paths and other things that sometimes work in
Mm-hmm.
tandem with each other,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
um, and can help people out. But at the end of the day, no matter what, if people are hurting, and especially now during these pandemic times, people that have suffer from mental health challenges
Mm-hmm.
have been
Mm-hmm.
more prone, under more stress and more
Mm-hmm.
has made
Mm-hmm.
their conditions somewhat more acute. That they know
Mm-hmm.
that the society accepts and loves them, and that there's help for them, and
Yes,
help can
there
come
is.
in many different ways, right?
Absolutely. I found, when this COVID first started, I thought, okay, a month or two and we'll be fine, and I did my little silly, videos and put them on on Facebook and that. Um,
Chocha
but I found,
Teresa.
yeah, Chocha Teresa cooks. Anyway, I found it was hard too to constantly, you know, be looking at something to entertain myself. I mean, I never run out of ideas or books or anything like that. I had you to talk to, Jean Jerome. I reached out to a lot of people as well. And that was something that was very important, and I think to me, it gave us the opportunity to talk to other people.
100%.
Facebook, as much as we complain about it, I was able to get in touch with some friends that I hadn't seen in a while, friends I've wanted to talk to, and went live face to face, got an opportunity to talk. And it made it that much better. It really truly did, and I think it was a struggle for some people. I'm an empath and a medium, and I do readings for people, but I found I picked up a lot of energies that were out there because I'm connected to a lot of people. And when I started to feel some of these things, and then I would have these dreams, of course, I would be, calling Jean Jerome and going, I have this really weird feeling, like, I don't know, like something's kind of
It's
coming down
become
the
the
pipes.
dream hotline. The dream hotline. If I have a dream, I was like, Teresa, this is the dream hotline. Calling Teresa, and then Teresa calls Jean Jerome, and then we call each other. We call other people that related to.
I know, and other people call us, like Anka calls and whatever, and it's like this, again, the spider web, right? We all contact one another, I had a dream, right?
But the beautiful part of that underscores the sense of family, and from our show,
Yes.
from our religious practices, and my
Yes.
practice of babalao, your practice in terms of
Yes.
mediumship and all that, and our extended family, now our
Mhm.
Ancestral Eyes family in terms of all the guests, because I
Yes.
really look at everybody as being really a part of family. I don't just say those words, and I hope that
No.
any of our former guests and friends that are listening to this show know that we're here for them, day or night.
Yes.
Pick up the phone or send us a message, and we're here for them.
Yeah.
And that sense of community and that sense of not being alone, have to face the challenges of life alone,
Yes.
is something to take heart in, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm the type of person too that I'll call people, and I'll call them on their bullshit too. And if you don't like to hear it, well, you don't want to hear it. But eventually I think you'll come around. I'm hoping you do,
Yeah, absolutely.
because it's important. It really is. We have to reach out to one another. And sometimes it's hard for other people to reach out to other people, or they get caught in this perpetual, sort of like a hamster thing where they keep
Hmm.
making the same mistakes or they keep doing the same thing, and sometimes you need that third party or that person that doesn't know you that well or knows you just enough to go, hey, what the hell are you doing? What the hell is that?
What's the matter for you?
Yeah, what's the matter with you?
Yeah,
I can see that you're, like, don't hang up. I'm talking to you. Knock,
yeah.
knock, 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 knock,
Claire, Claire says, I had you to talk to Teresa, and I'm fortunate to have other good friends too, sometimes just an ear that will listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Claire, oh my God, there's Claire
Hmm.
and I. When we got the news that we're both school bus drivers, when we got the news that, we were being let go because of COVID, we were told only a couple of weeks or so, there's Claire and I shopping at Walmart, the local Walmart up here in Midland. And, we kind of came upon some people arguing over toilet paper. And we kind of like turned and looked at one another. We started laughing. And I'm like, hey, what the hell is this? Right? She was like, I don't know. And then, the shock of being told you don't have a job, we both got very emotional, but we suddenly it was like we hugged each other, So know that, we all have our moments, I'm a strong person, but that doesn't mean I don't cry, if I'm upset or if something's bothering me or that I
Of course,
don't get angry, I'm a full emotion person. I believe in acknowledging all of my emotions. I'm a big personality. Really,
absolutely.
Teresa. But it was that embrace with Claire that just made me, that much what the hell? Exactly. The fight for the toilet paper. But it was that
But
reaching
but
out.
but at least I'll be back.
I'll be back. Yeah, exactly. With a vengeance. you know but it was those things that we were able to connect and pick up the phone. Let's go have a coffee. We still have to do a coffee, Claire, just you and I instead of the rest of the school bus drivers, right? But there's we have each other. We all have each other. Don't be afraid to reach out. No one is an island. They really are not.
and and, and as well, like when we talk about family, we talk about religious family, and even our peers in terms of our former
Uh-huh.
guests and all that. When we say reach out, not everything is requires a consultation or
No,
divination. Sometimes
absolutely.
our godchildren, our friends, and all that should feel that they can contact us, and it's not always about a
Mhm.
consultation. It's just about sometimes, just as you said,
Mhm.
having an ear to listen and just
Yep.
to give a fresh perspective, even to crack a joke. And
Yeah.
it's a balance, right? Not everything has a spiritual cause, not everything has
No.
requires a
No.
consultation, an exorcism, or an investigation,
No.
or sometimes a good old fashioned, you know, chuckle, laugh.
Like
That's
Jean
the best.
Jerome and I.
That's it.
How many midnights have we literally not stopped laughing? It's like,
We have Anka laughing right now. Anka's laughing, listening to us, and Claire's as well. She says, "Yes, yeah, no shit." Laugh out loud. And we have Utu joining us. Utu,
oh, yay,
hey, there you
Utu.
go. How are
Hi,
you?
Utu.
Thank you so
Boro
much,
Hello.
my
boye
brother.
bojuche baba.
Buru boye,
Bora
Alafia
boy,
oboato.
sister
Bushy
Teresa.
Shay. Hi, Utu. So nice of you to join us. Awesome. So
Yes. Well,
this
it's interesting because I'm actually out here at Cat and Monkey Events in Niagara Falls, who are the sponsor of the event.
nice,
And
Fantastic.
so
nice.
it's one of the people that are part of Cat and Monkey. It's her birthday tonight, so this was a surprise party,
Oh,
and
nice.
we're all here enjoying ourselves.
Yes, so here's our the Canadian Conjure Camp. Too bad our American friends can't join us, but that's okay. Next year. Ooh, look at this place looks awesome. I love the barn. Oh my God. Is that not special or what?
Yeah, there's
There we
lots of
go.
beautiful spots out there. And Kat, come on over
Nice.
here and wave into the camera. So Baba Jerome and Teresa, this is Kat from Cat and Monkey, who is our
Buru
mistress and
Hi,
boye,
sponsor
Kat.
of the
many
events.
blessings. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
And I also
Hello.
want to introduce you to Drago, who is in charge of the most important thing, food for us all. He's
Oh,
the head of
Yay.
Drago, thank you
culinary
so much. Thank
Hi,
you.
Drago.
mysteries.
As we
Hello,
say in
Drago.
Yoruba, un
And
genotara. Good food.
nice, speaking Italian, huh?
Nice.
Ah,
So yeah, he was born in
Nice.
Sicily, so we're in good hands when it comes to the
grazie
food.
mille. Grazie mille.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Awesome. I'm so looking forward to this. I really am, Utu. I think it'll be really, really good. I was even saying to Jean Jerome, we might even stay overnight. I'm not sleeping in a tent though. Jean Jerome and I forget it when it comes to tenting.
Well, do you have a minivan? Because a minivan's not bad. If you fold the seats down, you can put an air mattress back there. That's what a lot of people
I
will be
have my
doing.
Jeep. I
Oh,
got my
there you go.
Jeep. I can kind of like do something, or whatever. We'll find a way. We'll find a way because I think Beth is coming too. So,
Oh,
we'll,
good.
we'll think of
Yeah.
something. We'll think of something.
Utu, thank you for coming on. And I know it was a little bit last minute impromptu, but given the fact that the event is next weekend on the
Yeah.
29th, Saturday 29th and Sunday 30th, but can you give us a little history, like what led
Hmm.
to the conjuration cap,
Yes.
starting, and
Please.
what can expect, what the place that this event has in sort of the landscape of the pagan and also spiritual community, indigenous belief systems and so forth, like a little bit, where did the idea come from?
Well, way back, this is our 8th year. So 8 years ago, it was a
Wow.
combination of myself and a few of our friends that wanted to work with a unique Appalachian conjurer named Orion Foxwood. And we were trying to find a way to provide a place for him to work and also to work with, well, I was always working with Prince Bamadile before he went home. But yeah, we wanted to create something that always housed the entire spectrum of what the African traditional religions are in the
Hmm.
Americas. So
Hmm.
to have the very first year inaugural be the Gungun dancer with Bamadile and Orion Foxwood to come up from the Appalachian region to talk about root work and Southern conjure. And then myself, we always implement the reason why we have those traditions here, at least in regards to the Underground Railroad. So every year since then, we've had clergy that represent Kumbanda, Palo Mayombe, Ifa, Haitian Vodou, and as well, we have elements of people that are clergy in witchcraft and, Asian mysteries, indigenous First Nations mysteries and religions. So basically, because the African traditional religions, whether it be hoodoo, conjure, Lakumi in the Americas, all has those in the cosmology. There's Native American, there's elements of European and traditional African. So we wanted to make sure that we were providing a weekend that always featured a clergy of one of the African traditional religions, honoring Harriet Mama Moses Tubman, since we're always here in Ontario, and then expand from there and give the attendees an ability to sort of see what it feels like to be in ceremony if they're not initiated or don't belong to an Ile or house. And so this provides us that opportunity for people to see what it feels like when we come together in our traditions, of course, and fraternity and community. So that way it just demonstrates, and it ultimately leads to a lot of people maybe seeking out, initiation, seeking out teaching, and maybe figuring out what they really are attracted to. So it's that. And it also was ultimately, at the end of the day, something that when I wanted to organize it back at the early days, was something I wanted to attend. So I was like, let's make it something that I want to go to and have people that I'm dying to meet and work with. And that's always been the bar for us. Get people that we want to work with, that we respect, so we can be sort of like experiencing the whole magic ourselves. And it's become a wonderful experience. This year, it's a little shorter. We usually did it from Friday to Sunday, but hey, we managed to find a way thanks to our sponsor and the beautiful land that was found. So it's going to be really unique. I think it's going to be a great weekend. I'm looking so forward to working with you guys.
Me too. Likewise. I am so looking forward to this. I've always wanted to go because I know Beth, I think, has gone. And like you said, it gives a sense of community for people, a chance to get together, make new friends, meet new people, So I'm looking forward to it.
It's a good way for us to demonstrate how our traditions and religions are approachable, how we support each other, and provide blessings and provide the opportunity for the blessings of spirit and to enter in and share with the people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And how are you doing? There's because of the COVID, I believe we mentioned the maximum sort of attendance should be around 30. So, but there's still available for purchase, right?
Yes, there's still tickets available for purchase for sure. And as soon as they're not available, we'll take the link down. But yeah, we're going to be capping it at 30 so that we can have, lots of people spaced out properly in their chairs outside, and we'll be in lovely fresh air. And obviously everyone will have masks, because there'll obviously probably be points where we're going to want to gather around a certain table, a certain area, look at things, go to the area for food. And so we'll be prudent and make sure that we're doing responsible things, wearing the mask. There'll be lots of sanitizer and running water available. So we're looking forward to it. Everybody that we know so far that's coming and helping organize it has always been taking the pandemic, with the utmost seriousness. No one's being flippant. Everybody has reason to be concerned. And even with the sort of, hard to get people to come, we still have people coming from, all over Ontario, lots of Niagara region people and lots of people from the GTA and a little farther away, all the way up to, well, of course, Midland and Barrie. And there's going to be a good few folks coming down from, all over. So that's going to be good. Maybe a couple people are coming from Quebec as well.
Oh, nice. That'd be nice. That'd be very nice.
Nice. So it definitely is a Canadian conjure camp this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a message for you there, Teresa.
Yes, what Claire says, you better tell me lots there, girlfriend. Will do, for sure.
I was telling to Teresa, when you came on our show as one of our earlier guests, I forgot about it. I also didn't sort of connect the dots at that time. And you were our second guest, you're episode 2. And,
okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, episode 2. But it was interesting because the precursor, in a sense, of this Ancestral Eyes show, in terms of doing a gathering in terms of with a little bit of an academic and also spiritual practitioner approach to presenting different spiritual belief systems. We started it originally at the Harriet Tubman Institute at York University. So
Right.
today I just realized it's interesting how that spirit, that ancestor, has
Mhm.
sort of been working, sort of in behind the scenes, weaving a fabric to bring
Mhm.
other
Mhm.
belief systems and indigenous belief systems together. Because you could call it coincidence, but the fact that it was the
I don't
Harriet
call it
Tubman Institute
coincidence.
at York University, where we were doing the interfaith, uh, s- uh, with the Latin American uh, group, a
Community.
working
Yeah.
group from York University and the Consejo at the time, co-sponsoring and doing, inviting. And now you've been doing this for 8 years, and you've been very involved with Harriet Tubman for how long now?
Oh, it's been like almost 18 years at this point.
18 years. So
Yeah.
that
It's
spirit,
about 18 years.
Yeah.
that spirit has been very active. I'll say that much, and very welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's interesting because Harriet Tubman, she was very diverse in her spiritual beliefs. Her grandmother was an Ashanti woman. Her grandmother's name was Modesty. She was Ashanti and came from Ghana. Harriet Tubman grew up as a child knowing that her grandmother was African and was a healer. And
Uh-huh.
also throughout Harriet Tubman's life, she became involved in many denominations of Christianity as
Mhm.
well as root work. She
Mhm.
worked with spiritualists. She worked with
Mhm.
Quakers. She worked with all number of people and kind of enveloped
Mhm.
most of those religious practices because pragmatism was the key and the need for survival of the
Mhm.
Underground Railroad for as active as she was in it. So she's connected
Mhm.
and is kind of an interesting gateway and conduit to Africa and America. And yeah, she's a very powerful, beautiful spirit.
No,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay. Well, and it really underscored because in Cuba, the survival, and in Brazil, in Haiti, the survival of the belief system was, the rallying cry and the sort of the pillar that sustained the slaves, and allowed them to go through horrible situations and
Mhm.
conditions and everything, and yet still maintain the spiritual belief system alive. And it was very pragmatic, as you say. Like it was a question of survival. Like it wasn't a
Mhm.
question of just blind faith, but really we need to get
Mhm.
results, and we need to save people, and we need to keep
Mhm.
this alive, right? So it's
Mhm.
very interesting.
No, no, absolutely.
Well,
So we don't want to keep
that's
you
so
that
true. And
much
I wanted to say
longer.
congratulations.
Utu. Yes, go
Yeah,
ahead.
1 week, 1 week, 1 week,
Yeah,
1 week from tomorrow.
that's
But
right.
I wanted to say congratulations on your run of your show and how great it's
Oh,
been.
thank
I've
you.
watched many
Thank
of
you.
them and been
Thank
really
you very much.
enthralled with some of the guests and learned a lot actually from a few of them. There were some really good guests there. It's a great
So
show.
did
So
I. You
congratulations.
know,
Well,
thank you so
we're
much.
always learning, right? So we wanted to take today to reflect a little bit and sort of look
Mhm.
back at at previous shows and look forward to this event, a very important event, the Conjuration Camp, been running the 8th year now, and also looking at towards the future, and also again
Mhm.
put a shout out to the community that if there's any particular spiritual belief system they'd like to learn more about, if they know somebody who's a practitioner that would like an opportunity
Mhm.
to express
Yep.
their belief system and the history behind it and its practice and
Mhm.
so forth,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
there's a place and a chair always here at Ancestral Eyes for them to join and to connect, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. A chance to talk and share stories and get to know one another a little bit too. I've learned so much. There's only so much you can learn from a book on a certain spiritual practice until you actually meet people who do what they do, and then it's kind of like a whole different ball game. So I'm grateful. I'm glad I have all these amazing friends from Facebook that I get to tap on their shoulder and go, excuse me, by the way, would you like to come on a show?
So,
I got
so,
candy.
so Utu, I know you're, and I really appreciate you joining us to talk about
Yes.
the event and all that. But I know you're
Yeah.
at a birthday
And
celebration,
we don't
so
want to keep you too
we
long.
don't want to intrude on the celebration too long. But just quickly, for those tuning in, what is there like what would be a basic description of the itinerary? Like, what can they expect at the conjuration in terms of activities?
Yes.
You mentioned food, which is always good. And
Oh, sure,
an
yeah, of course.
opportunity to meet people.
Well, we put on the we put on all the information that people can be there as early as 10 in the morning, essentially to set up their tent and or make the bed in the van, and then they'll be able to tell right away where we're all going to be gathered for, when Baba Jerome is presenting. I'll obviously open things up a little bit with introductions and acknowledge the land because it's native land, which is interesting. We actually have some artifacts available to look at that it's been found on the property. And
wow.
so the original inhabitants of the region, this was their land that this stead was on. So that's pretty unique. And
Nice.
there's going to be some really unique artifacts there to see. And so we're going to acknowledge the land, and then we'll work out the way it's going to happen, and eventually there'll be a ceremony where we're going to be talking in private on Sunday to figure out a few things. But one of the things that we'll do is honor Harriet Tubman and the spirits of the Underground Railroad like we do every year. We will build the cairn and the cross, and everyone will be able to place a candle on the rocks while we exalt the spirits of the Underground Railroad. And this year we'll be right in the Niagara region, which will be beautiful. On Sunday morning, one of the people that are helping organize it, Amanda Dubois, who's a great medium out here, she's going to take everybody that wants to in the morning on a walk through the trails. It's going to be a guided meditation and tap into the energy and the flow of the land. And then on Sunday as well, before everyone goes home, we have a friend of ours named Claudia Valdez, who was born in Costa Rica, is a worker, a shaman in Mayan religion, which is where she's from. And she spends the whole winter in Costa Rica every year training with the Tatas there. So she's on Sunday going to present a little bit about her Mayan traditions and Mayan faith for us all to experience. So, the whole day is going to be, Saturday is going to be mostly about, our main guest of honor, Baba Jerome. We'll do the spirits of the Underground Railroad. We'll eat, we'll share, we'll talk and do ceremony. And then at night, when it's all over, then we're just going to sit around a fire and enjoy ourselves and celebrate and enjoy life, sit around a fire, probably have some drumming and some good laughs, maybe a couple of drinks. And then Sunday, we'll do the meditation and with Amanda and then the Mayan workshop with Claudia.
That's wonderful.
So that's kind of the loose basis there.
No, that's good. That's good.
Lots
I'm
to
glad.
do.
No, I'm glad that I'm glad you were able to tell people a little bit about it, what to expect and so forth. That way, it gives a little bit of an insight. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Utu.
Yes, thank you.
We love you, your family,
and
really honored
your music.
to participate and thank you as always for the use of your music, for introducing the show.
Her little friend says bye too, and she says congratulations.
Ashe.
Ashe. Awesome. I love it.
Okay, much love, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll talk to you soon.
And enjoy the party. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes.
And for letting us know.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
No problem. Much love.
Thank you.
Bye. Much love.
All right.
Talk soon.
All right. Bye. Well, that was nice. Wow, something to look forward to. I'm, of course, my eyes went up and, future guests.
Yeah.
More people we can have on our show. Yeah. Oh, you know me. I'm going to be networking like crazy out there. Hi, want to be a guest?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I think it'll be fun.
No, it's good. And it's funny. Speaking of dreams, the behind the scenes story of that. And,
no.
Yes, you do.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
So definitely, I'm looking forward to being there. I'm meant to be there. So we'll see what the spirits have in store.
Yeah.
It should be a very, very interesting event. And it's very good for people to know that this type of events are being held in Canada, in the province of Ontario. And that they're being organized by such a responsible and really committed member of the community, such as Utu and his people that collaborate with him. And I hope to see also one of our former guests, John Husalak, John Corvus,
Yes, I
at
hope so
Romani.
too.
It would be good to see him there as well. Hopefully he can make it. He mentioned he might be able to make it. Dr. Gianmichael Salvato and Ken, the Muskoki Magi, had said that if it wasn't for the pandemic, they would have loved to
They'd be
also
here.
to be
I know
here
they
and
would,
to share
for
in
sure.
community and everything else, right?
No, for sure.
So,
And the other thing too is, let's not forget the other pagan community like Karen that holds the
the
pub
pub view.
moots.
Yes, yes,
The Monday, every third Monday, I think it is, pub moot in Toronto,
yes,
which gives an opportunity for all pagans of every walk and faith belief
yeah,
system to get together, network, get to know one another, find mentors, find people if you need to know a little more about a certain path or would like a teacher. There's always someone in the community that can help you. Okay, it's just a matter of reaching out. So there's the pub moots. There's the I think the Wiccan Fest. Well, it's not being held again this year, right? But there's Wiccan Fest. There's the one out in Ontario East. I think it was called Kaleidoscope Gathering. I don't know if they are doing it still. That was a while ago. I've not gone to one of those in a long time. Maybe they still exist and maybe they still do that. I'm not 100% sure. But there's a lot out there, there's a huge community out there. It's just a matter of, contact one of us. We'll know somebody out there, I mean, we know someone who knows somebody who knows someone or whatever, right? And we'll certainly put you in touch. If I don't know,
absolutely.
I'll definitely try to find someone, or Jean Jerome as well.
And,
It's a matter of reaching out and finding out where, we can direct you,
yeah, no, and invitation again. We've said to all our guests, future and past guests, that like Karen Dale's high priestess of Wicca and witchcraft, that any event, any initiative, project, book, research, or anything that
Absolutely.
they are looking to launch or to raise awareness.
Yes.
We don't just say the words. We really do consider them a family,
No.
and their success and their
Yeah.
raising of awareness is beneficial to the entire spiritual,
Community.
shamanic, indigenous belief system community.
Absolutely.
And
Beyond the African tradition,
beyond, yeah,
African
not just
traditional
African,
religion,
exactly, 100%.
it's out there, there's a lot of people. I know a lot of people, like I said, my Facebook friends is pretty well my entire spiritual path in, God, how many years? Holy Hannah. I was initiated as a witch when I was 30, so even prior to that, I mean, I know someone who knows someone who knows someone, so there's an array of practices, belief systems, that I'm sure we can connect you. I can connect you, or Jean Jerome can connect anybody with whatever they're looking for, and if you need any more information about stuff, we're your go-to people, right, Jean Jerome?
That's right. That's right. And stay tuned because again, we may be extending that invitation and that capability in the future. So stay tuned. We may have some interesting announcements surrounding that sort of community directory approach. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
we'll
Yes,
be
yes, yes.
it's something we'll be definitely looking at expanding and really because again, our main mission again is to again this life, which is what our ancestors began, is really to have this as Boko no Dafoji or Daniel Barredo says often, that have this re-encounter, this reunion of the ancestors, of our
Yes.
ancestral spiritual guides, to sort of let each other know, hey, we're here, you're not alone,
Yeah.
and to again raise that awareness so that traditional beliefs systems do not meet with discrimination. Unfortunately, I had a message from somebody, a practitioner of Palo, and also Ocha out in Edmonton. And he messaged me directly on Facebook. And again, he was met with a little bit of scorn, ignorance, and just basically a hard time at U.S. immigration as he was trying to cross the border with his spiritual icons for participating in an invitation to a spiritual ceremony he was invited to. And the customs person used U.S. I used the derogatory. This is all black magic and witchcraft and stuff like that. And he had to go through the whole education process and telling the person, no, this is my spiritual belief system. You must respect it under both the law of your country and our country.
Yes,
but you still have people very narrow-minded, very much in the dark.
You will.
You
can't get away from that.
Oblivious to the broader world. It's scary sometimes how people can be so narrow-minded, right?
But that's why we have this show, right? And we're able to reach out. People can reach out to us, so that we can help them. And that's something that Jean-Jerome, you and I had been talking about privately, doing something for the community in that sense, to be able to give them some sort of legitimacy. So that's something that we're working on too. We're not going to say anything right now, but there's a few things that we want to work on for, for our community, and put it out there, I mean, I give spiritual readings, as a medium. I do paranormal investigations. I do house blessings and clearings, but we're also there for people, to be able to help one another, like if like you said, there's this gentleman in Edmonton, who follows his belief system, meets, an authority, and this authority is completely ignorant on the ways of our belief systems. We should be able to step up for each other, regardless 100%. Of whatever differences we may have, and be able to do that for each other, and say, hey, we can help you.
And that's a critical point. I mean, and I'm going to say this in both English and Spanish. In English, basically, a lot of time, almost almost ad nauseum, is spent within the belief systems, especially Faurisa, between the Afro-Cuban descendant Lugumi and the Yoruba traditional practitioners, and other sort of lineages and so forth, battling and talking about unity and which standard to follow and everything else. And I've always found it to be the most, the greatest oxymoron and a waste of energy and resources when we still are at an infancy stage.
At each other's throat.
We're no, not even that. We're still in diapers in terms of people respecting and understanding all of these, the collective of these beliefs are earth-based, animistic, spiritual, indigenous, shamanic, whatever label we have, ancestral belief systems, and respecting them and respecting the basic rights, the rights to carry and to have your spiritual possessions with you, to travel through borders with them, to hold your ceremonies and worship without receiving any type of prejudice or racism or threat. Those are the things, like the recognition of the alternative to the main belief systems, like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Sikhism, Hinduism, even Buddhism, is incredibly important. And that should be where the energy in terms of unity and mutual respect and collaboration should be. I say it in Spanish. Para los que nos están escuchando que pueden hablar solamente español, estamos diciendo en este segmento que en vez de tener interminables discusiones y tratar de tener dominancia sobre la religión, una creencia sobre la otra, una práctica sobre un lineaje sobre el otro. Lo que tenemos que hacer y lo que tenemos que enfocar es que en su forma colectiva, que cualquier creencia indígena, chamánica, religiosa, difa, orisa, palo, vodun, chamánica, de cualquier rama, wicca, etcétera, que todas esas religiones formen una federación, tengan una representación, que las personas, los gobiernos, las autoridades respeten y no pongan en peligro o en discriminación o en prejuicio a nuestro movimiento, a nuestros intereses, a nuestra capacidad de unirnos para ceremonia, a nuestra capacidad de poder hacer nuestro trabajo espiritual, nuestra labor espiritual sin prejuicio, sin peligro. So I just translated that in Spanish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So,
Thank you for doing that. No, it's true. It's important. We have our differences, like, I always use the analogy of, in the witch world, like, shake the stick 3 times. Who cares how many times, right? The point is on, hey, Malvin, on what a beautiful cat. Oh, this weasel, this is Kicha. She's my weasel. I love her dearly. She's my numero uno cat. I have other cats, but she's my favorite. She's a character. Thanks, Malvin. Yeah, no, it's important that we acknowledge the fact that we may have differences in slight variations of our belief systems or whatever. No one's perfect, and no one has the absolute truth in our belief systems, right? We only have experience and age, and that's it. But that doesn't mean we're not open to learning from one another, regardless of our age or our experiences, okay? But that we are cohesive enough to be able to stand up for one another, and that's something that I think is really, really important, so
100%.
that's something I think we want to kind of like look at and work at, because let's talk about Consejo and how Consejo came to be, okay, Jean-Jerome? If you don't mind. I mean, is it too personal? But I think that's important because, here you are, and the acknowledgement of that, and, the Canadian government having to acknowledge this and actually, practice what they preach, so to speak. So go ahead, Jean-Jerome, give us a little bit of background.
The origin of the Consejo was to create, again, as I said, to have our belief system, in this case, Ifa Orisa, and Yoruba, Ifa Orisa, and Vodunfa, to receive the same respect and recognition under the law of Canada in terms of our Charter of Rights, in terms of freedom of religion, as any other belief system. And that came in part from my personal experience of a custody battle or dispute with the mother of my girls for wanting to being sort of brainwashed that the belief system Ifa Orisa was associated with devil worship. It was somehow malign, something evil, something bad. And I defended myself with Ifa. I represented myself. I had no legal representation except for myself. I filed all the papers. I appeared in court. I defended the case. It's a case precedent in Canada. And
Exactly.
So for anybody listening, again, you do not have to hide or be ashamed of the belief system, because under the laws of Canada, under the Charter of Rights, there's freedom of religion. The states, they have a similar article in terms of the Constitution, there's a freedom of religion. And England, as we saw, also has in their Constitution a similar guarantee in terms of freedom of religion. And we have to exercise it, because any right is only as good as the ability to exercise it and put it into practice. So that's why we originally, part of the reason, again, we didn't want to do it through contention or just simply litigation, but through education, increasing the mind share, working together with the community, trying to educate, trying to do research, doing comparative studies. That's why we did this series at the Harriet Tubman Institute at York University for those 2 years. That's why we we basically tried to do this. We've done this show now, Ancestral Eyes, because at the end of
Mhm.
the day, we talk about the legacy, and my sign, my oduvifa Osheyeku is considered to be Awishe, is the ambassador, or the one who speaks for, and is the lawyer for the impossible, or the
Ashe.
difficult, okay, to represent the belief system and to
Ashe,
defend,
ashe, Don
right?
Jerome.
And I think respect is earned, and if we show that we can have a coherent message, if we show the roots of our history, collective history, not just Ifa but shamanic Tuvan belief system, or Palo, Inkisi, or root work, or
Witch.
hoodoo, witchcraft, Wicca,
Mhm.
or Druidism. If we show that history, if we really work together and
We
stretch an
demonstrate,
open hand
yes,
and
our
show
belief.
that collaboration, and our conduct is appropriate, um, and we show that we're committed to our communities, that our belief systems are not destructive or self-destructive, but in the contrary, that they shed a light and a warmth and a message
Mhm.
desperately missing and desperately absent in the lives of many people, where they cannot find that same
Right,
nurturing, or
right.
that same healing light within
Mhm.
some of
Of
the main
belonging, a sense of
of belonging.
belonging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's very important, right?
I do too, and that's the thing. Freddie Guerrera, hello.
Yeah.
That is par for the course with evangelicals and other, exactly. And if for no other reason, just stand up and say, "You're not the only ones. Knock it off, okay,
Exactly.
and stop putting everyone else down." You know, seriously,
No,
it's
and
the
that's
sense
fine.
of
No, and it goes to extremes. I mean, in Brazil, the Umbanda, Candomblé, Batuque, uh, communities
exactly,
have been, under threat of violence, and actual violence. I mean, their temples and icons destroyed. Their
yeah,
people threatened with having their hands cut off because, of their. I mean, what is this? Like, are we in the Dark Ages again? Are we in the Spanish
no.
Inquisition? I mean, I really want any evangelical group who is listening to this show, no matter where you are, if you want respect, you have to show respect, and you have to basically stop with this
Absolutely.
this fear mongering, and this you know
Yeah.
this insanity and
So
disrespect,
childish.
and
This
and
basic
violence,
God no
spread of violence.
higher.
If
No,
if
no,
you
no.
if how is it that sometimes a faith which comes from a shaman, and a teacher like Jewisun or Jeshua, that only
Jesus
preaches
Christ.
peace
Yes.
and love and understanding and forgiving. How is it that these people are conducting themselves in these almost gangs to intimidate and to the point, so people
Of
understand to
racism and
how
hatred.
grievous this racism and hatred is in Brazil, that the community, the leaders of the Umbanda community in Brazil, took it to the United Nations in an appeal for the United Nations to
Wow.
investigate under crimes against humanity
Wow.
and the suppression of a religious belief system because of the conduct of the
Hmm.
evangelical churches against,
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
fraction of those evangelical churches against those indigenous belief systems.
Hmm.
And we have to, as a community, as a world community, say enough is enough. Enough
Absolutely.
is
We
enough.
have to stand up. You know what? It's the same thing that's happening in America and in Canada. There are evangelicals, but again, we have to be aware of that, and we have to be able to voice our opinion and be able to demonstrate that we are cohesive in our community as well. So this is
Absolutely.
important. No,
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
So
So
so that's those are the main things. I think
mhm.
it's very important. That's why, for everybody tuning in, that's why we really,
That's
really
why
the
we do what
spirit,
we
the
do.
spirit, yeah, the spirit of this show, and our many of our future research and collaborative
Mhm.
projects, events, and everything else, is to basically, um, promote that understanding, promote that respect, promote that awareness, uh,
Mhm.
and have people know they're not alone. I've had people when we were doing the series at York University. I had a young Yoruba woman who had been. It was in that moment going through a similar situation that I went through, but worse because her children were taken away from her because of a
Oh,
pretense that she was practicing witchcraft. What like sometimes I understand for as far as we've come in our you know that even in the criminal code of Canada they have
mm-hmm,
an arcane
mm-hmm,
Christian based article
mm-hmm.
on witchcraft. They don't even know the first thing about witchcraft, the purpose of witchcraft, but they have
No,
something in the criminal code. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, this is absolutely asinine to me. It
no
is
kidding.
disgraceful that even that which should still be allowed to stand. That those particular articles should be stricken from the Criminal
Absolutely.
Code of Canada, and if not, at least updated properly to
Absolutely.
reflect the religious, spiritual diversity and ancestral history.
Diversity
Yeah,
right
diversity.
there. That's what
Exactly.
we're
We
talking
talk
about. We've
about
been skirting
talk about
the whole issue. It's the
exactly
diversity that we need to acknowledge
100%,
within our country, America, and elsewhere, and South America, everywhere. It's diversity.
and
So I
and
just
Freddie,
go
yeah,
ahead.
Freddie Guevara says your neighbor to the south is on the way, or the verge of establishing a theocracy. It is very, very spiteful, hateful, and there has been violence toward Catholic statues. Do not take for granted that things in the U.S. are calm. They are wanting to establish an evangelical inquisition through a violent push with Trump to take over through elimination of our three branches of government. They have actually announced their intentions on TV. Pray for us.
Oh
Well,
my
that
God.
is, that is disturbing. Freddy Guevara, mi saludo, mi respeto. Freddy Guevara is a very good psychic medium. He's been practicing his craft for many years in the state of Florida. My respect to him is a very gentle man, very, very respectful,
Mhm,
um,
mhm,
and a good psychic. And it's sad, but I mean, Canada is not too far off. I mean, we have
mhm.
pockets, and you know this, Teresa, to be true. There are
We
pockets. We
do.
have, and I don't want to also single out just evangelical because there are fine, upstanding, courteous, respectful people who practice evangelical
Christians,
Christians.
not evangelicals. I
But
will.
even
I'm sorry.
I've had the courtesy
I'm going to
I've had
draw the
the
line
privilege
there.
no, I've had the privilege of meeting some evangelicals which are polite, and although they practice the faith, they're not discriminatory, violent, or have any. They may be a little apprehensive or may not have the insight, but they're not. They don't go to an extreme. But others are, just go through the roof. Beth says the code is about pretending to practice witchcraft. Pretending is the key word. Laugh out loud. Actually, Beth, yes and no, because number one, the
Mhm,
action of pretending, there's another clause of that. It's not just
mhm,
pretending. There is because even the term pretending to do witchcraft is really you cannot have a basis to determine if somebody is pretending or actually doing witchcraft. Uh,
Is this the
you know,
Canadian?
this is
Um,
Canadian law. Yes, I
okay.
have the article. I actually have it in an archive. For a future show, I'll bring it out. But I found that article to be outdated, ignorant, misinformed,
Hmm.
and they, it's different if they say, if a person is pretending to do something in the sense of, they have no religious background, they have no training, they don't belong to
Hmm.
any lineage,
Hmm.
and they're basically a charlatan, which we know we have those problems
There
in
are.
every belief system and every even in Farisa and Palo and everything else. But it's another thing to have a clause which has no legal history foundation, or because then people don't interpret that, they interpret it the way they want. So they use the term,
That's the
oh, if you're
yes.
practicing, if you're pretending to, which means to an evangelical or to a court,
Hmm.
there's no such thing as witchcraft. So if you're pretending to do witchcraft, right,
Hmm.
the basis is you must be pretending because there's no such thing, right? So like there's not enough history or depth in that law
Hmm.
to navigate.
Hmm. I think, to me, just to put this whole evangelical Christian thing to bed,
Yeah,
is the fact that I view them as extremists, like extremist Islamic, extremist Judaism, extremist anything. It's not good, okay? And they don't have the right to override everyone else's belief system, okay?
correct,
And
correct.
that is what I am against 100%,
Yeah,
okay? I don't care. There's a lot of good Christians out there. But
yeah,
when you
exactly.
have extremists, which evangelicals are, no,
That's
that's
right.
how I feel.
Freddie Guevara, disturbing, but these pastors are getting aggressive.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we have our
And,
ways too.
and like I said in the next column, they don't say anything on practicing in all sincerity, but yes. And then it says, I believe it is all law enacted to protect people from fake carvings and other bent on hocus pocus of the Republic. Again, Beth, I respect what you're saying, but I don't,
Mhm.
in all honesty, I do not believe. And if it was the intention, I believe that the law in its current language is inadequate. And I'll next time I will actually I have it saved because I took that, um, in terms of the code, the penal code, and I will bring it out. But the problem is we have to understand. I do not believe in all honesty that it is purely that for that reason of quote unquote protecting the public from charlatans. Because for a
Mhm.
general public or a law system that not even believe in the existence of witchcraft or belief systems that practice it,
Mhm.
it's a very gray area, depending on the judge or in practical terms and the counsel you have to pay. It could be lead to issues. But more importantly, we have to understand that witchcraft, obia, or a lot of the African descendant beliefs were outlawed outright in Jamaica. And Jamaica, having a British, essentially a British legal system,
Mhm.
I don't think those two are completely disconnected, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Ken Allen says, absolutely, Teresa. And
Mhm.
Beth says, I would not tar the entire evangelical movement with the same brush, but yes, there is crazy element among the evangelicals. However, I do count among some friends, some evangelical American Christians. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. I've had the privilege of meeting some
Mhm.
evangelical that are balanced. They're professionals. They have education, instruction. They have an understanding of world religions. They're committed to their belief system, but they have an understanding of others and respect them. But the problem is, you have again factions, sometimes based on financial and
Mhm.
political greed and absolutism that spoil it for everybody else, right?
Yes, but again, they're working as an entire group. There may be a few far and few between,
Mhm.
but as a whole group and what they're capable of doing, no. Sorry.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like I mean, we're seeing in definitely in Brazil, it's scary. Like it went all the way to the
Exactly.
United
Look
Nations.
what's happening in America.
In America, as
Same
our
thing.
friend Freddie Guevara is saying, again, same thing. In other parts of the world, I'd say there are similar situations, right? Actually, in the case of even Europe, some countries are have ruled against or have laws that have come in that actually cause issues in terms of the belief system or the practice of belief system being able to carry it out. So, but we'll leave that for another show.
Yeah,
Um,
anyway, we don't want
yeah,
to get off in that tangent or anything like that.
yeah,
What the whole point was to understand that we have to come together as a community and have respect for one another, and also to understand that we are there to support one another.
100%.
And that's important. And that's what we
That's
wanted
right.
to get across. It was that message in
That's right.
itself.
Ken Allen
And
says evangelism is dangerous. So again,
mhm,
like we'll adjourn it there for that. But yes, I mean, there's definitely are there abuses? Are there serious cases again on record, like the Umbanda
mhm,
Candomblé community
yeah,
going all the way to United Nations in a desperate appeal for the
mhm,
intervention or sanction and to avoid the continuing violence and suppression of the belief system.
mhm.
100%, and it has to be said because that's the truth.
It has to.
And
Yeah.
we can try to sugarcoat it or anything else, but the other side isn't sugar. The other groups are not sugar. Uh,
No.
sugarcoating it either, right? So,
No.
but anyways, I think we're going to adjourn for the
We're
evening.
we're gonna wrap it up because
Wrap it up.
got work. You've got work to do tonight.
I'm wearing a different hat tonight. I'm doing a network cutover because I'm also a director of ICT consulting and secure cloud services. So I have another responsibility this evening. So I'll be leaving shortly for the data center. But
and
again,
it's gonna be a busy night and all night. But Sunday
right.
you're coming over to my house. Woohoo! Jean Jerome,
that's it.
Beth, and
God's
Rob,
favor, yeah.
and Anka, and it's gonna be a party at my house. It's gonna be a
the plan.
party at my
And,
house.
and I would be remiss to adjourn the show without a special call out to our faithful, never fails us, always there to watch our show, our most furry of audience members.
Besides the one that bites me all the time. Where is
Mojo, Beth's cat Mojo, which has been religiously, since Beth almost got this little cat, has been religiously tuning in every episode. And just sits there and just watches the show on Beth's Mac. So this has become has become our show mascot, Mojo the cat.
Mojo.
I call him my godson Awo Logbo, the the cat who received the fa.
We've got to get that song. Got my mojo running.
Exactly.
We got to put his little.
We're gonna have to put that in honor of Mojo.
Exactly. We got to put the music on in honor of the little guy. So Ken wants to say thank you guys once again. Great show. Thank you both. May the holy powers bless us all. Absolutely. Absolutely, Ken.
That's fantastic. Absolutely. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for tuning in always. Muskoki Magi. Thank you for your support, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody.
And being a guest on our show. And
Melvin, Anka, Claire, everybody who tuned in, Vianney, who tuned in, everybody who's tuned in. Thank you so much for your support. And we will see you next Friday, and at 8 p.m.
So next Friday, who do we have? Who do we have? Or we don't have a confirmation yet.
We don't have a confirmation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, good. So so we have some upcoming guests. We have some things in the works. We've got stuff we got to do and all that stuff. And Beth, what did Beth say? I missed it. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you again. Sorry to be late to the party.
Oh, no problem, Beth. No problem. You can always rewatch right to the beginning and see what the hell we got to say, right? So
that's it.
So I want to say thank you to everybody tuning in. Thank you, Jean Jerome. Once again, Teresa. My bro, Jean Jerome, my sister from another mister. That's what Ken and I always say. He's my brother from another mother.
That's it. So
all right, everybody.
Everybody have a good night. Be safe.
Good night, everybody. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Keep the distance, the physical distance, and
drive safe.
And many blessings. Have a wonderful evening. Blessings to all. Odabo.
Okay.
Bye bye, everybody.
Good night. Bye.